Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. A video I made recently explains why, despite our collective desire to see this matter addressed months ago, Judge Torres has yet to give a judgment in the Ripple case, even though it is precisely what we all want. Not doing anything yet doesn't necessarily point to malicious intent on her part. The prospect of this happening is not outside the norm. The issue of why this has not been resolved remains, however. Judge Torres is not known for penning lengthy opinions, which is why this is so long. As an added bonus, when comparing the library case to the Ripple case, the library case concluded a lot faster. What gives? But here's something I need to tell you. The enormous amount of evidence that must be assessed by the courts is a major factor in this, as noted at the beginning of the film. The same is also true. From the world of cryptocurrencies comes this news story, in which Basic Deaton highlights an important distinction between Ripple and library conflicts. Excuse me, but before we go any further, I need to make sure you understand something. I've never worked in either the legal or financial fields. You shouldn't regard anything I say or write as a suggestion to buy or sell any security. For fun, I make videos about crypto-related topics and upload them to YouTube. Well, that's okay. The following was a tweet I made a few days ago. I can see that there are a lot of irate people right now. Nearly 2.5 years have passed in this SEC litigation that is detrimental to XRP investors. Even still, it's hard for me to accept the possibility that Judge Torres is a crook. Because she hasn't settled on anything yet. The timetable is practical. And while others may have had their reservations, I certainly wasn't one of them. I was completely serious. My use of the word corrupt seemed to cause it to appear in random places. I realize this is only a subset of our group, but I run into it rather often. And so, Mark, one of the people in our group, responded to me by saying, I don't think anybody genuinely is arguing that she is herself corrupt. Our government, unfortunately, is corrupt. So, she works for the state. That's how I figure most people feel, anyway. Mark, I have to tell you that you're wrong. So, I did respond to him, and I hold no ill will toward him. But I hope to have made my position clear. Actually, they mean it literally when they say this about her. Taken from a YouTube video I uploaded a few days ago, in which I made the same argument again, with some more context. Yes, we want the case to be over, but we're still working within acceptable norms, as evidenced by the comments you see in the screenshot above and in the video itself. In that video, I was working on expanding upon the concept. Many people also think corruption is widespread here. There appears to be no evidence. They make assertions, but I haven't seen any evidence to back them up. In my response, I asked Mark to reconsider his first assertion. Some comments that were posted below one of my videos on YouTube are included here. Many people are spreading false rumors that Judge Torres is involved in corruption. Yeah. Don't take it personally if you find yourself at odds with the speaker. Simply put, I have trouble taking such a strong claim seriously in the lack of evidence. So, in response to my video, here is a reply I received. The judge must be absolutely corrupt if it passes on Friday. The next comment asserts that the SEC is the sole source of the judge's income. How is this taking so long? So, once again, I've been unable to find any proof to back up my claim. The case resolved with the conclusion that the public was ultimately dissatisfied. Malicious intent is inevitable. The problem is that your line of thinking is flawed. This is a brief talk to set the stage for something I brought notice to on June 23, a piece published by former SEC attorney Mark Fagel. A decision in a federal summary judgment case usually takes 6 months. So, this is to be expected. This is also not a straightforward situation. Yes, many of us have seen the writing on the wall and predicted this would happen sooner, but welcome to the realities of an overworked justice system. Sherry, who is part of the XRP group, sent a note of appreciation. The length of time it has taken to resolve this issue is, I have argued, standard. Even yet, I have advocated that the backlog of criminal cases in Tora's courtroom be addressed first. I might as well be yelling at a wall. Sigh. Attorney Fagel agreed, saying, "You know what you're talking about, and you're pretty much always right." That is not something that is supported by crypto Twitter at all. And this brings us to the next question, which is why we are waiting. Further supporting evidence. Each circumstance is different, as I indicated at the outset of the video. It's fine if they don't look exactly same. These are the crypto basics, according to the headline. Among the many differences between the Ripple case and library lawsuits, Deaton highlights one in particular. There is a significant difference between the Ripple case and the library case, as Attorney Deaton has pointed out. The differences between the two lawsuits were recently highlighted by John Deaton, the creator of crypto law and a promoter of XRP. After hearing a Ripple engineer draw parallels between the two cases' journeys to a summary judgment, he drew the connection. Let me unlock the thread so you can read about the events that led to the current state of affairs. The timetable we've been following in the SEC versus Ripple litigation has been called into question by Mr. Huber, a member of the XRP community. Please don't take this the wrong way, but he sounds like he thinks this whole affair should have been over with a long time ago. I respectfully disagree with that evaluation. Not that I have anything against him personally. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I suppose I just see things differently. This screenshot was then sent along by him. If he did a search, the results would appear at the top of the screen. For how long does a judge deliberate? After that, it ceases completely. If you inquire around, though, about how long courts often take to rule on applications for summary judgment, you might get a sense of the scope of his efforts. 1, 2, or 3 months was the range he was given when he inquired as to how long it would take. If that were the case, I'd say we're long overdue here. We've deviated from the right path by more than 100%. And a decision was essential, but lawyer Mark Siegel disputes this. An ex-SEC attorney warns once more against using Google for legal research because of the possibility of finding information from a personal injury law firm that is only relevant in state court. This proves that you are wrong. According to the most recent federal case study I reviewed, 2018, the average time for a summary judgment motion to be heard in this particular federal district court is around 6 months, and Ripple is getting close to 7 months. Again, this is an average, so keep in mind that the real number may be lower or greater than what is shown here. The likelihood is very high either way. It's acceptable for us to be slightly taller and longer than average. Yes. Once again, I find myself in agreement with you. All I want is for this to be over with. I understand people's frustration, but please know that exhaustion is natural at this point. John Deaton, the Solicitor General, reported to Attorney General Fogel. And according to Deaton, if federal district courts averaged 1 to 3 months on potentially dispositive petitions like summary judgment motions, Congress wouldn't have created the 6-month cap. And I get what he's getting at there. Most individuals would consider a time frame of, say, 6 months to be excessively lengthy. The Congress requires that data. That's the farthest back I can remember thinking about this. I'm sure there are rules and regulations, but my memory fails me at the moment. If you are on this list, it means you will get more information than usual. Therefore, the goal is to keep judges off of the list. I get what he's trying to say now. That's about all I remember, but perhaps it gives you an idea. Conceptually. Believe me, that is what he means. Here to respond to Attorney Deaton is Ripple's Senior Staff Software Engineer for On-Demand Liquidity, Neil Hartner. That indicates he has some prior experience. Ripple employee Hartner wants to know how long it took for a ruling on summary judgment to be issued after motions were filed in the library case. Attorney Fogel estimates 4.5 months, noting that there was significantly less documentation involved. That's what the opening minutes of the video led me to believe, at least. An employee of Ripple named Hartner said to him, "There are way more moving parts in this case than there were in the library case, hinting that the judge was speculating and taking too long. That's great news for the defendant since it means there's a ton of evidence to sift through. The timing can only be interpreted in this way, and I agree with him. Possibly, and I don't think it's too far-fetched to assume, but only after some time has passed, the judge will examine the case as a performance and not merely rubber stamp one side or the other. Ideas that are both intriguing and meaningful. However, it's reasonable to assume that both parties would have benefited from the exchange. People who at first thought this could be good for libraries can now see that they were wrong. To address the second half of the two-part test in prong 3, Mr. Deaton's legal team stepped in, saying, "The filings in Ripple are 10x the filings in library." Remember, also libraries counsel stipulated that prongs 1 and 2 were satisfied. This has led some to claim that Howey should be treated as a 4-factor evaluation. And the ripple effect's practical value in the workplace is hotly contested. Since this is not an investment, consideration of the first factor, consumer intent, is irrelevant. This is, thus, an unusual circumstance at best. Because of these two factors, there is significantly less mental load. Attorney Deaton explained that the case only took 4.5 months because there was significantly less evidence to review in the library. Okay. The judge was probably absolved from thoroughly evaluating the remaining Howey test criteria because of the library. It's getting more and more obvious that I've erred. They finally admitted that in the library case. It's only the one prong that needs fixing. They should have resisted those prongs with everything they had. But that also meant there were fewer factors to consider. That's pretty much it, actually. As far as I can tell, nothing else here is suspect. There are allegations of corruption and other such misconduct, but these are just that, allegations. That's really all there is to it. This is as bare as it gets around here. If you have something to offer, please let me know right away. Let me see it, I'm interested. In my opinion, it's merely a sign of anger unless you can back up your statements with evidence. I totally get it, but let's try to keep our heads on straight. Realistically, I believe justice will be done. That is absolutely not a guarantee. You could have to appeal the case if Judge Torres utterly botches it. It is quite improbable that Ripple will lose, but even if they do, the future of XRP is not necessarily doomed. The transcript from the court hearing that took place in January is now available to the public, and from reading it appears that the library did not win this case. The public only lately learned about it. We may say that much is true today. The way Deaton presented it made it seem genuine, but now we have proof. The judge emphasized that the secondary market was not considered in reaching the decision against the library. Even if a situation like this only arises during the Ripple case's remedies stage, we should be all right. Whether or if that is adequate for relisting on exchanges is the topic at hand. Yes, I do agree with it. If not, then that's disappointing. However, the judge's decision in the library case appears to be quite clear. In order to assess their usefulness when we get to the solution stage. Still, all I'm doing is pointing it out. Because of this, I don't worry about anything bad, evil, or any other label you like to use. I don't think any of that is happening in the ongoing SEC Ripple case. Given everything that has happened before Judge Torres, I find it hard to believe that the SEC has fared better than Ripple in the pre-trial processes. From what I can tell, most decisions are favorable to Ripple. Consequently, XRP holders in many instances. Indeed, that is how I perceive it as well. I've been following this frustrating saga for over 2.5 years now. If anything, I think Ripple won this lawsuit more than the SEC did. The bright side is that we are nearing the end of this ordeal. I won't pretend to know how long this will last, but I do think it will cease at some point. When asked what days filings in this case normally occur, Attorney Hogan mentioned Thursdays and Fridays. Usually, this is the case. If you're curious about when this might occur, think about what I've laid out below. No lawyer's predictions have come true thus far, and neither do I have a date for you. The judge has mentioned that Thursdays and Fridays are his typical filing days, therefore, you should check your phone, computer, or tablet first thing on such days to anticipate any news or unexpected price movement. Let me phrase it that way, very briefly. I don't like the phrase financial advisor and don't use it. You shouldn't use anything I say or write as the foundation for any kind of financial decision. And please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.